So Trump doubled down defending Pam Bondi with a literal wall of text on his Truth Social account. But saying that things backfired is an understatement. July 12, 2025 will go down as the day Donald Trump got ratioed on his own social media platform. And for those who don't speak fluent internet, getting ratioed means that your post gets way more negative replies than likes or positive engagement. Basically, it's when the comment section turns into a digital lynch mob. It's the online equivalent of being booed off a stage, except the stage is your own theater and the audience is supposed to be your fan club. Let that sink in. The man who built Truth Social, specifically to avoid the kind of backlash he got on Twitter, was getting torn apart by his own supporters on the platform he literally owns. But a flash recap. The whole mess started when Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi promised a truckload of Jeffrey Epstein evidence back in February, then delivered a DOJ memo in July that basically said, "Actually, there's nothing here. Epstein killed himself. A case closed. These are not the files you're looking for." So the MAGA base felt like they had been catfished by their own government. So Trump's response was a rambling Truth Social post that read like someone trying to talk their way out of a corner while simultaneously throwing everyone under the bus. Users were not having it and calling for Bondi's resignation, accusing Trump of a cover-up and using words like betrayal and black-pilled, which is internet slang for becoming so disillusioned that you give up entirely. Laura Loomer, Steve Bannon, and Alex Jones all turned on the administration. And these are the people who have been Trump's most vocal supporters. When Alex Jones thinks you're covering something up, you know you have lost the conspiracy theory demographic. Not to mention that Megyn Kelly at Turning Point USA destroyed Pam Bondi in just a few minutes. But let's break down Trump's Truth Social post line by line because it's a beautiful example of how to contradict yourself in real time while trying to sound authoritative. First, he opens with, "What's going on with my boys and in some cases girls?" Notice the quotes around boys and the almost afterthought addition of women. It's like he's already distancing himself from his own supporters while pretending to care about gender inclusivity. That is so 2020. But well, then comes the classic Trump move. We have a perfect administration, the talk of the world. Now, I know that Trump has a penchant for all caps, but if you have to announce that your administration is perfect using them, it probably isn't. But to be fair, that is everyday Trump. I have the best administration. Nobody does the administration thing better than me, all right? But then he says, all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. This is Trump simultaneously acknowledging that Epstein dominates the news cycle while complaining about it. He's basically saying, why won't this dead guy stay dead? Which is either profound commentary on media obsession or the weirdest complaint in political history. The logic pretzel comes next. Why are people giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration? Think about that for a second. The previous administration somehow fabricated evidence about a guy who died in 2019 during Trump's first term, and they did it so convincingly that Trump's own Justice Department cannot tell the difference. And by the way, if they created the Epstein files, why didn't they use them against him? The Democrats would have exploited all these photos of Trump next to Epstein, and that would have been way more devastating for him in the public eye than any lawfare based on hush money payments. But what do I know? Then we get, they created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton Christopher Steele dossier. So the files are fake, but also they are real enough to investigate, but also they shouldn't be investigated because they're fake? What? That is Schrodinger's scandal. Simultaneously real and fake until observed by Trump. The rhetorical question that follows is pure gold. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? This is Trump accidentally making the case for releasing the files while arguing against releasing them. It's like asking why your enemies didn't use their best weapons while insisting those weapons don't exist. I mean, I'm telling you, the moment I saw this, I swear to the Almighty that I thought this was satire, a parody, a fabrication. But the real deal comes at the end. Kash Patel and the FBI must be focused on investigating voter fraud, political corruption, Act Blue, the rigged and stolen election of 2020, and arresting thugs and criminals, instead of spending month after month looking at nothing but the same old radical left-inspired documents on Jeffrey Epstein. So, stop, run it back, enhance. Trump just told his base, who have been obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein for years, that nobody cares about Jeffrey Epstein. He literally dismissed one of the most disgusting and known cases in recent history as pointless while trying to defend his administration's handling of it. And also, the 2020 elections. Really? You're complaining about people still talking about Jeffrey Epstein and you're still talking about the 2020 elections? If you really want to be efficient about this, and this is my suggestion, start by really doing something about the Alto Pen scandal. That would serve a lot of purposes. One, that the Biden administration was lying to people. Two, that Democrats were okay with it, so further eroding their less rabid fan base, and you will be able to prosecute those who actually have not killed themselves, such as Anthony Fauci. But anyway, let Pam Bondi do her job. She's great. Yeah, she's great dropping charges against big pharma such as Pfizer, and I made a video on my Power Pundit channel about that. Go watch it. But now, I wouldn't entirely dismiss the 2020 elections. But instead of investigating something that it's not going to change the past, make sure that it cannot happen again in the future. And we know that was point number 19 in Trump's campaign promises. Secure our elections, including same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. Make USA elections as secure as possible. That's great. And I understand that the mass deportations are actually a first step. That might not seem obvious until you remember that Biden and Kamala and Mayorkas had left the door open so they could change the demographics of battleground states so Democrats couldn't lose this election. But again, my point is that Trump keeps complaining about Epstein being dead. Well, the 2020 elections are pretty much the same. But there are things that we can do right now so any election fraud never happens again. And the way to make sure that the Epstein stuff doesn't happen again is to prosecute his clients, friends, acquaintances, name them any way you want. You know what I mean. The post ends with classic Trump grandiosity. 1 year ago, our country was dead, and now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Let's keep it that way and not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that no one cares about. Now, if nobody cares about that, then why keep addressing that topic? Why keep bringing that up? Why so defensive if nobody cares about Jeffrey Epstein? But I'm going to tell you something. Trump is right. People don't really care about Jeffrey Epstein. The guy is pretty much dead, or at least that's what we think. What people really care about is bringing to justice all the connections, all the politicians, all the billionaires, all the power players that engage in Epstein's perversion services. We don't need to know anything about the victims either. They can remain anonymous. But what we want is those PDF files that right now must be laughing in their mansions or yachts. We want them facing justice. And that's what Trump doesn't seem to understand or doesn't want to understand. The irony is beautiful in its twisted way. Trump's statement was supposed to unite his base behind Bondi and redirect their anger towards Democrats. But instead, it confirmed every suspicion that his supporters had about the deep state, except now they think Trump is part of it, or at least part of the cover-up. And this creates a paradox. Either Trump is covering up real files that implicate him, or he's covering up fake files that somehow also implicate him. But if they're fake, then you should at least prosecute those who fabricate them. There's no way out of this. And some suggest this controversy could cost Republicans up to 40 House seats in 2026 if dissolution voters stay home or defect. And that's what happens when your people promise to expose the deep state and that gets accused of becoming it. Trump's post was supposed to stabilize Bondi's position, and it might have worked internally. He's privately reaffirmed his support for her, but it's also fueled reports of FBI infighting and with Deputy Director Dan Bongino apparently clashing with Bondi and considering resignation. And nothing says a smooth administration like your own appointees wanting to quit over a deleted PDF file. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Don't forget to follow me on my Power Pundit channel, where I expand and research these topics. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the battle language guy. Much love and bliss.